everybody, Nikki here, back to talk more about recovering from eating disorders, which is what I am in the process of doing, recovering. And this might not be the most coherent video because I don't feel well at all, probably because I've barely eaten today, which was not intentional, but you know, the longer you go at your eating disordered behavior, the more it becomes habit. And it became so normal for me to go all day without eating and just eat what little bit I ate at night that if I don't slow down and stop and say I need to nourish myself, then sometimes I just accidentally, like really accidentally, go the whole day without eating, which is not good. So, you know what? Recovery is a lot of breaking bad habits. Okay, what I really wanted to talk about today is what I talked about with my therapist today, which is comparison. Okay, so a huge problem with me is comparing myself to other people. And I go to this really huge university where there's so many eating disordered women, and there's just so many teeny tiny people walking around, and I compare myself to them constantly, and it really has hindered my recovery, I think, and it has skewed my perspective because I zero in on these really thin women and ignore all the average size or larger women. So I start to think that that teeny tiny is normal. And that has not been good for me. And it also means that when I'm walking around campus or wherever, it's like a constant blow to my self-esteem. My therapist said that I have a thin person radar, which is true, and she said that I need to break that radar. So what she suggested was every time that I see a really thin or just a thin woman and start to fixate on that woman and compare myself to her, I need to think green, which means I have to look for something green. And eventually I guess this is supposed to start breaking down that radar. And it sounds silly, but she's never led me wrong. And she had an eating disorder back in the day, and she said that that worked for her. So I'm going to give it a try. I have a feeling it'll take a long time to break down my radar, but I think it would help me to do so. And really, let's think about it. What can comparing yourself to other people actually do for you? What I always thought it did was give me inspiration. And that's what thin inspiration is, really, isn't it? Just comparing yourself to other people. But here's the thing. That will lead you to nothing but misery. Comparing yourself to other people is a surefire way to be miserable, especially when you have this disordered thought process and you hate yourself so much that everybody looks better than you. So you have this really skewed perception of yourself, and you're always trying to live up to these standards that you see in other people, and you just never can, and so you're constantly unhappy. Comparing myself to other people has truly brought me nothing but misery. You know, I used to think that zeroing in on these really thin women and looking at thin inspiration and all that was going to help the cause, you know, help me lose weight. But I think it just made me miserable. And it's really hindered my recovery too. And it still makes me miserable. So I think it is time to really make an effort to stop comparing myself to other people. And that is my challenge for me, and maybe it can be a challenge for you too, just to really think about what comparing yourself to other people has gotten you. And think about how it's so much easier to recover if your goal is just to be healthy and happy. And, you know, the only way to do that is to stop comparing yourself to other people and just be happy with who you are, which I know is easier said than done. I am, to be honest, still disgusted with my body. Absolutely disgusted. But, you know, that part comes last. The building a better body image, unfortunately, has to really be the last step in recovery. And I think this no comparison campaign, if I can go through with it, will really help with my body image. So I'm going to try really hard to not compare myself to other people. And you try really hard too, and you know, it might take months and months, it might take a year or two, but eventually I'm hoping I will lose that default mode of comparing myself to other people, and I think I'll be much happier. Okay, so I guess I'm going to go eat something now. Good luck with everything, and I will be back later. Bye, guys.